Barbara Jaworski is the CEO of the Workplace Institute, and she started up both the Best Employers Award for 50-plus Canadians and the Summit on the Mature Workforce. She's highly regarded as a human resources consultant, specializing in the fields of employee engagement, organizational branding, work-life balance, health, and productivity. And she is a leading expert on the 50-plus worker. On behalf of Desjardins Financial Security, I'd like to thank her for joining us to share her insights today. Barbara, welcome.
Thank you.
You've literally written the book on the 50-plus worker. It's called Kaboom, How to Engage the 50-plus Worker and Beat the Workforce Crisis. Why did you write this book?
I wrote the book because of the work that I was doing with organizations. Time and time again, I would go into an organization, and because I was developing work-life programs for organizations, I would say to them, tell me a little bit about your demographics. They would say to me, we have an aging workforce. And they'd say it in a shamefaced kind of way, as though they were poor managers. And I began to recognize that the reason they were reacting that way was because they really weren't sure what to do to attract, engage their older workers. And in fact, at the time, it was considered good management practice to get rid of them as quickly as possible and to bring on younger workers. So we really began to see that employers needed to have some guidance in terms of what they needed to do to manage the needs and the changing needs of boomers.
You've clearly talked to a lot of organizations across the country. What are some of the most innovative strategies you've seen employees use to try to retain older workers?
Employers are doing some very interesting things. For instance, we see that BC Hydro is bringing back retirees to mentor younger workers who maybe need some more help on the job to understand some of the deeper skill-based knowledge that is really acquired over time. And so they're beginning to bring people back full-time as mentors for these individuals. Now that's in itself a very unique and quite a flattering role, I must say, for a retiree.
What are employers not doing that they should be doing to deal with this coming crisis?
Well, employers should really be looking at ways that they can make the workplace more flexible. I think that this is a number one issue. The other thing is employers need to become a lot more strategic about their workforce planning. For many years, employers have planned really just from year to year in terms of maybe how many full-time equivalents they're going to need. But now, employers are really going to need to look a lot more forward, 3 to 5 years ahead, to understand who's driving value in their business. And what ages are those people? Are they leaving soon? Do we know what their intentions are? So organizations are going to need to become more deeply involved in that issue.
Are there any quick wins, strategies that employers can implement that are fairly simple but that can have a big impact?
There are quick wins. Whether employers find them easy to implement is another thing. But flexibility within the workplace is extremely important. And survey after survey tells us that that is the number one request for older workers. Another way is supporting the health of all workers. You know, when an employer invests in preventative information and health support for their employees, it's a win on two levels. First of all, employees are always looking for information about how they can take care of themselves. And they'd like to be able to take better care of themselves. And for employers, when employees are looking after their own health, they're much less likely to be developing chronic diseases, and they get a lot more support from their employer and a feeling of loyalty because of the personal support that's offered. So that's very important.
Are there any common themes among these employees? What do we need to know about the kaboomers?
First of all, the sheer numbers of kaboomers is going to make them a very powerful voice, both within work and outside of work. So their needs are going to become more and more important and more heard by employers as they scramble to make sure that they've got the people with the skills and talent they need to drive their business. They're going to be looking more and more to kaboomers to be staying on. And if they're going to be looking to kaboomers to be staying on, they're going to be listening more closely to the needs of kaboomers. So kaboomers are interested in flexibility. they're also very interested in health because, you know, our generation is aging, but they will never be old. They will never see themselves as seniors, and they will always be fighting those limitations. It's part of being a boomer.
Desjardins Financial Security conducted some research called the Rethink Retirement Survey that indicate that more than 60% of Canadians are planning to retire gradually from the workforce, either by working for the same employer, for a different employer, or for themselves. Would you say that's consistent with what workers nearing retirement are thinking currently?
I totally agree with that. I actually do this survey when I do my keynote speaking, is I ask people at what age do they plan to be retiring. And the vast majority of people, about 80% of people, expect to continue to be working past the age of 65.
The Rethink Retirement Survey results also looked at Canadians' financial preparedness for retirement. The results indicate that over 60% of Canadians believe they are saving enough for retirement. An even higher number, 80%, say they know exactly how much income they will need in retirement. And 77% say they know who to consult about planning their retirement. What's your reaction to those numbers?
Wow, I was really shocked by that because you know, we know about 30% of people have a defined benefit plan. And so maybe those people know how much money they're going to have in retirement. We know that financial planning is an art and a science, and that we can't predict what the future is going to be, and so that it's very difficult to know exactly what you're going to have in any particular year. Boomers have different lifestyle needs and expect to be living a very different kind of retirement than our parents did. And that lifestyle is going to take a lot more dollars than our parents needed.
What are some of the specific financial challenges that retiring employees will face in the coming years as they transition into retirement?
Well, managing their debt. You know, we know now that about 50% of people are retiring with debt. Well, that's, you know, a serious concern. So I think that people moving into retirement will need to consult with a financial planner to help them see what the future may hold for them.
What can the financial industry do to better serve the needs of these people transitioning into retirement?
I think that more and more education is needed for individuals, both at work and in their private lives, wherever they'd like to get that information.
Tell me a bit about the Summit on the Mature Workforce and the Best Employers Award that you coordinate.
Every year we put together the Summit on the Mature Workforce. This year it's going to be the 4th, and it's taking place in Calgary, Alberta, and it's sponsored by the Government of Alberta and Desjardins Financial. And we bring together employers from across North America, and we look at the latest research, what's the best of the best. We look at case studies, and we also present the Best Employers Award for 50-plus Canadians. If you'd like to apply for the Best Employers Award, then there's an opportunity that opens in January 2009. And the Summit on the Mature Workforce in 2009 will take place in Ontario.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.